Hello from Centers for Spiritual Living, Palm Desert. Welcome to another amazing, insightful, wise, fun broadcast from this community. And we're a couple of days before Christmas 2020 with some of our staff ministers here at Center for Spiritual Living, Palm Desert. And before we get into our topic, why don't we do a brief opening invocation? And so I invite you to just take a breath with me. And we'll relax into this space with a couple of deep, full, slow breaths to be even more present with this virtual connection we all have, to be present with the infinite expressing and the divine that is right here within us, around us, and before us. That we knew from this time together of listening and sharing, we are more receptive and imbued with and accepting of the infinite presence of love and peace and wisdom for the purpose of expanding our consciousness so that we can see and feel and know and experience more love, more wisdom, and more peace and more joy every given moment. I give thanks for this time together. I give thanks for the wisdom shared today. I give thanks for any questions and comments from our audience. And I just give grateful thanks as God being God right here and right now. We just let this word be so, and so it is. Amen. Well, again, welcome today. And for our panelists, our staff ministers here at Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert, we always kind of start off with a kind of a cool question to kind of get things going and get grounded in our group. And today's question is, how have I grown through all the challenges this year and all the challenges that is presented? I think for me is I'm a loner and a social monster. And so I can sit for hours, literally, and just read or meditation and be completely fine, not miss anybody. I never have the TV on, period. So I'm just can be present with that. And I can be in a crowd all day long and feel just as peaceful and just as present. So how to nurture both of those in this pandemic has been a little different. For me, it's my parents love the TV. They're in their 80s. I take care of them. The TV's on all the time. Luckily, only 2/3 of the day is commercial television. The rest is music choice, music channel. So there's always that kind of little bit in the background. So there's not a lot of silence. So I need to be more structured and more focused to go create a space of silence. But for the social time, I just make sure that most of my connections now, though we're always doing text with loved ones and confidants and friends, I try and go into a Zoom or a FaceTime just to have that little bit extra of connection time. And what's kind of interesting is when I do that, often the calls are longer than they used to be. Because now that we're engaged and we see a face, we can do a little more connection and we can be present with each other, again, through FaceTime, Zoom, whatever kind of online video chat we can do. And also, I haven't ruled out, regardless of the level of lockdown we've been having for a year, we'll find things. I remember in the summer, more than once, we would go up and get our own food in a restaurant, go sit in our cars, even if it wasn't in the shade, turn the air conditioning on and be socially distancing with our cars and 2 or 3 cars with the windows rolled down. And we'd be eating and trying to holler to each other and have a social gathering time because you just make it work, right? So that's kind of how I've worked through it. I'm glad at the end of this sharing, I'm still smiling. Hey, Reverend Cheryl, how have you been dealing and handling the challenges this past year?
Well, I live by myself. And so at first I thought, well, this is going to be different because I'm a very social person. I love people. I love being around people. And but you know, I found that it gave me an introspection that I hadn't really developed before. And I found that my meditation practice just soared. And I actually had this really cool experience where I just had this perfect Zen moment this summer that I mean, it's like all at once I knew I was just a part of the entire universe, and there was no separation. And wow, to reach that one point, and of course it only lasted like this bit, you know, little bitty one, but still, just to reach that point. And but I'm like Brad a lot too. I love to read. I love to, I always have little projects going on. So I think the way that I have grown the most though is really getting to enjoy my own company and liking myself a lot. Not that I disliked myself before, but just enjoying Cheryl and who she is, and recognizing that, you know, this is who I am authentically. This is who I am all the time. And so for me, I think it has a positive aspect to it, but I have missed all the interaction with other people, but not to the point to where it's made me feel as though I'm stymied or I'm locked down or anything. I have yet to feel locked down or, you know, locked into something. So for me, I think it's been a good experience, even though I wouldn't wish it on anybody else or any other, you know, this to ever happen again. But I've just kind of seen myself walk through it in a really positive way. And I've stayed positive throughout. So I know it's hard at times, but it's not really if you just stay in the right mindset. That's all you have to do. So now I'm going to have Reverend Dale tell us what she thinks.
Thank you, Reverend Cheryl, and good morning, everybody. For me, the greatest growth that I've seen is opening up my creativity. And, you know, by virtue of not being so interactive, it's forced me to really look inside and seeing all the creative juices that are wanting to express by means of me. And so that's how I've really grown. And I just love being in the creative flow. It allows me to really express what's deep within myself that's unaffected by anybody's opinions or direction. It's just what's me that wants to come out. So that's been my biggest area of growth. And also I'd have to say this whole time period has caused me to go just deeper inside of myself as far as patience and also finding that peace in all of this uncertainty. I think that's been a huge growth for me too, even though I've already had that kind of ability to be very, very okay with not knowing, but it went even deeper for me where I actually just feel an excitement about not knowing and just being open to what's unfolding without having to be so needy in needing to know, well, how's this all going to turn out? And just trusting and knowing, well, of course it's all unfolding perfectly. So I don't need to hold so tightly to know what that is specifically. And so now I am going to pass it to Reverend Gail.
Thank you, Reverend Dale. And I love going at the end so I can hear all of your fabulous answers. So thank you for that. So how have I grown through the challenges this year has presented? And I think I'm happy to share a surprising answer. And my answer is, I think I've grown in optimism. And I am a pretty optimistic person to begin with, but I truly think that's where my growth really has blossomed. And I know it may not sound like it makes any sense, but because of the pandemic, I know that I know things that I have never known before quite this deeply. So I know that we can all develop new ways to connect and to stay connected. We've proven that. I know we can all adapt to deep changes in our lives, and we can evolve quickly, and we can learn very, very fast. Look at this, vaccine in 7 months. And many things I knew before have really been strengthened. I know and celebrate the true value of community. I know more than ever how important it is to get up, to get out, to celebrate together, to connect, to share, to interact, to listen to each other, and to hug and laugh and cry together. And I am feeling right now really optimistic about the future because I know beyond knowing that the consciousness that I embrace shapes how I experience this life. So I've grown in optimism because I know there is a powerful good in the universe, and I am using it right here and right now in a very constructive, and as Reverend Dale said, creative way to imagine a post-pandemic world where we are all together once again. And I know that's happening very, very soon. So it's really this optimism that I've shared that brings me to our topic for today, which is the gift of the holy days. Because today, as the amazing holy days of December are unfolding, we are all, each of us, are going to share our thoughts on these gifts with you today. So there's a lot converging right now. On Monday night, December 21st, the winter solstice reached its apex. So blessed winter solstice, everyone. And Hanukkah 2020 began on the evening of December 10th and ended the evening of December 18th. This holiday is also known as the Festival of Lights. So happy Hanukkah, everyone. And this Friday is Christmas, so Merry Christmas to all. So with all that's converging in this magical, magical month of December, today we, as the Fearless Four, want to weave these traditions together and immerse ourselves and our listeners in all of the divine virtues and spiritual qualities that connect each tradition and all of us together. So since the beginning of human history, contemplating the cosmos, no matter what religion or spiritual tradition was embraced, we have been blessed with amazing mystics and teachers who have revealed through each one of us the blessed qualities of spirit. And these blessed qualities, these are qualities that bind us together and also call us to the best within ourselves. And I think the gift of these divine qualities is that collectively, they all bring us to the same place. We all reflect the image of the one who created us. And looking at things alphabetically, from the divine quality of acceptance all the way through wisdom, common to all world religions and spiritual traditions, these divine virtues and qualities all reflect, in all of their wonder and in all of their complexity, the pure potentiality of God, of spirit, that is in each one of us. And that is what we're truly celebrating this month of December. It is within this common ground then that we all get to choose which traditions and ceremonies we desire to support our celebrations. Yep, we get to choose. So I want to start our time together today reflecting first on Hanukkah as giving us the gift and divine quality of trust. Then we're going to look at the Christmas story and at the divine quality and gift of love as we know it through the openness of our hearts. And last but not least, we're going to explore the winter solstice as we move into the seat of our soul and the divine quality of wholeness. You know, this time of year, there is so much joy and light spoken about during the December holiday season. And joy and light are two divine qualities that I love and always get major holiday attention. But today, we're excited to bring forth 3 additional divine virtues or qualities, maybe more, to our metaphysical studies. And that will be trust, love, and wholeness. So with that, let's start with Hanukkah. So I'm going to begin with a brief history about the Hanukkah miracle. So 2 centuries before the birth of Christ, Jerusalem was under Greek Hellenistic rule, and the Jews were not allowed to practice their faith. Their temple was taken over, and the Greek god of Zeus was erected. When the Jews finally regained their freedom and could practice their faith, they needed to re-sanctify their temple. Yes, they took the god of Zeus down, but in rededicating the temple, they needed to light the menorah. But they could only find enough oil to keep the flames burning for 1 night. But despite the appearance, the Jews still moved forward in faith and trust to purify their temple. They stood strong in their trust in God. And the miracle of Hanukkah is that the oil lasted not 1 day, but for 8 days. And in that time, they were able to make more oil and keep the eternal flame lit. Now that is the power of trust, and that is the power of faith. Looking beyond what's showing up in the outer world, looking beyond what you can see, and knowing that there's a greater power, a power that is greater than we can experience with our outer senses. So the Hanukkah story teaches us that no matter what traditions you follow, there is still always a language going on beneath the surface. And it's important for us to tune in to and trust that message. Martin Luther King spoke of the same divine quality, trust. He just spoke about it in a different way. This is what he said. He said, faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. So from Hanukkah and the divine quality of trust, we now move into the divine quality of love, which is the divine quality and gift of Christmas. So Christmas, as we all know, celebrates the birth of Christ, the messenger of love. And Jesus of Nazareth was humble in his humanity. He let the Great Spirit speak through him in words of love and compassion. As a matter of fact, his main message was love. He said, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. Yes, Jesus was about integrated love. He also taught love your neighbor as yourself. And who do you think he meant by your neighbor? That's right, everybody. And I think Ernest Holmes got Jesus about right in the big book, The Science of Mind. He shared that Jesus was not the exception, rather the great example of what is possible, what we can become when we are open. Jesus also knew we must have love and compassion for ourselves first, before we can bring love into the world. He knew that love is what we all are, the sacred truth of our true essence. The Jewish Torah says it this way, love thy neighbor as thyself. In the Baha'i faith, the love of God is the origin of love in all creation. So throughout all of the world's religions and spiritual traditions, from the Baha'i faith through the Tao and Wicca, whether Christmas is celebrated or not, the message is the same. The quality of love connects all things. So there are so many holy days to celebrate, and we're fortunate in our Science of Mind teachings to have the freedom to honor and learn from and to explore other faith traditions and cultures. Our third December celebration actually originates from among non-Christian people before Jesus of Nazareth was even born. And I'm talking about the Winter Solstice. The Winter Solstice, which falls on December 21st in the Northern Hemisphere. The Winter Solstice is a deeply important day, both from a spiritual and a celestial perspective, because it's the longest, darkest night, and it represents the moment before the sun begins a new cycle in the sky. Throughout the ages, it's been a significant time of ritual, a time of reflection, of celebration, and of renewal. And because the Winter Solstice celebration honors the darkness and gives thanks for the coming light, it's a beautiful, beautiful time to celebrate the divine quality of wholeness that dark and light create together. So wholeness is the essence of who all of us are, each one of us. But cultivating the wholeness, the awareness of wholeness in our physical lives can sometimes be a balancing act. We balance the needs of ourselves, the needs of others, and then remarkably at this time of year, when the darkness calls us to turn inward, we can experience some of our busiest social activity, right? Even in this pandemic season. And this polarity can sometimes leave us feeling a little stressed, a little anxious, maybe even a little depressed without the sun's light and warmth. However, the long dark nights also invite us to explore our own inner knowing, our innate wholeness. So let the small spark of light this solstice connect with your deepest and truest self. Then you'll be more resourced in wholeness to share that spark with those you love, bringing forth this divine quality, wholeness, in them as well. So the month of December is full of holiday traditions and celebrations. I haven't even mentioned all of them. But whatever traditions or rituals you honor during this magical month of December, I believe the true gift of the holy days is that we all have holy light within us. We experience this light as divine qualities, the divine qualities of joy and light, trust and faith, love and wholeness, and I am very sure my cohorts will add a few more. So whatever holidays and traditions you embrace this holiday season, what you're truly embracing are the divine qualities common to all of us and to all traditions. Heaven doesn't celebrate one religion. The cosmos is a religion-free zone. So for me, the month of December is a deeply mystical month, associated with holy days, miracles, healings, and abundant acts of love. And with that introduction to our topic today, I'm curious how my cohorts see the many holidays of the season, connecting us all together. Who wants to jump in?
I'd like to also, before I start, we had a comment from Linda, and I think it might have scrolled across, but she said, I have a far deeper sense of gratitude to have security in the simple basics of life at a time when others are so challenged. A good time to remember this with our holiday donations. I thought that was very sweet of her, to say that. But, you give where you're fed is what I say. If you go to a restaurant, you pay for the meal. So you're just getting a big, juicy, spiritual meal right now. So think about that. But what one thing that Gail just really struck me, it was such a beautiful thought, was looking beyond the appearance of the outer world. Because sometimes what's going on around us, we start embodying it within ourselves rather than opening up our hearts and saying, this is not the truth. This is not the truth of who I am. The truth is that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, and whatever's showing up is something that I'm going to grow and learn from. And that's how I always feel about these kind of things that, are happening right now. But one of the things about the winter solstice, I've always been fascinated with the solstices, and so the one in winter, it's like the earth is in a cycle. It's just like our lives are in a cycle in a sense. And at the solstice that's the beginning of what we call winter. And it's the time when the earth just rests. And it just replenishes itself so that by the time spring is here and the sun is in a different position, that all new growth occurs. So like and then in the summer, it's the abundance of the growth of the food and all of the things that, the earth is just like full of life and everything. And so as you get down and into the fall, things are starting to go into the cycle again. And for me, it's just such a beautiful reawakening and just going and taking like the long, as they say in the Christmas, that poem, what is it? Night Before Christmas. It's a long winter's nap. And, and that's what, we found out that when we're asleep, our immune system really kicks in because it can shut down other parts of our body and not have to, worry so much about digestion and everything. It can just work on getting itself stronger. And so I like to think of the earth as just taking a nap during the winter time. And when it wakes up, it's full and vibrant and ready to go again. And lastly, what the beauty about our teaching is that we bring to it what our beliefs are as well. The things that still resonate with us, we keep those things. And so I love the pageantry of Christmas, especially like going to Catholic Mass and stuff, because to me, it's just so absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. And it's just that ritual and that, acknowledging the truth of who we are, that we're all just one being and we're all celebrating the one source. And so like Gail, I feel like December is such a mystical, magical month, and it's one of my favorites. So now I am going to turn this over to Gail again, or Dale. No, it's Dale. Dale. I'm sorry. Sometimes we get the D's and the G's mixed up.
Anyways, thank you. I love Reverend Gail and Reverend Cheryl. I love what you guys shared. It's so neat to bring the perspective of science of mind to these holidays, and so enriching. And one of my favorite themes, and Gail pretty much touched on it, but one of my favorite themes of the winter holidays is restoring our divinity and finding that God connection, or our God self. This whole metaphor of, it's the darkest part of the year and finding the light. And to me, that light is my divine nature. One thing I love about the Hanukkah story is that, the temple is really a metaphor for ourselves. And as Gail taught the story, where the Syrian Greeks had taken over the Holy Temple, and there was a battle for it with the Maccabees and the army of the Syrians. And after the battle, the Jews won, but the temple was a disaster. And to me, it's like in life, when things just really fall apart and get destroyed, it's finding that light in the midst of that. And Reverend Cheryl talked of that too, the appearances, being, turning away from appearances and finding that eternal light within you that is burning brightly, no matter what the circumstances are of life. That light is always there. That divine essence of who we are is always present. And the cool thing is, when we recognize that light, we are energizing it to bring us forward and to improve our lives and to walk away from the wreckage and create a new life, a stronger life. And I think this time of year, in these stories of Christmas and Hanukkah, they just tell us to know that within all of this, there's a light that is always there, and to remember that and to restore that wholeness that Reverend Gail spoke of. And now I think I'm going to turn it over to Reverend Bradley.
Awesome. Thanks, Reverend Dale. Reverend Dale, at the beginning of her sharing, mentioned how she loves how the principles of science of mind show up. And in listening to Reverend Gail share and Reverend Cheryl share, you can see let me get to the point. So we know technically, at least for the Northern Hemisphere, right, this time can be the darkest time of the year because the days are shorter. So it's kind of interesting how many celebrations of love, light, and giving show up this time of year as opposed to the time of year when the days are the longest. And what if that's, I don't believe in divine guidance, because in any given moment, we create whatever life we want, right? But there can be a synergy of race consciousness that it's dark, for millennia, we couldn't tend the fields. We had to go inside. It's colder. We have to self-reflect during that time. We have to self-reflect because there was nothing else to do for millennia. And so what if, because of that collective energy of humankind, we created celebrations and gatherings and times and teachings to instill within us a time of reflection, a time to recognize the light everywhere, a time to recognize the infinite love that is everywhere, and a time to just be together and celebrate. And we'll figure out what the heck we're supposed to celebrate. We'll just make it up so that we can at least be focused and celebrate together. Having so much broader perspective of the holidays and celebrations this time of year than I did yesterday. I wanted to share from the Kwanzaa tradition. So a number of years ago, I was creating curriculum for a spiritual community and was their youth director. And for the month of December, I thought, I'm going to teach the kids all the different faith traditions that show up. So we did the ones that majority of people know, and I also grabbed Kwanzaa for a day. So I'm going to, and it was, I still, like years later, I remember how rich learning about the celebration was. So real briefly, the background was a professor of African American studies in the 60s, was part of the Black Power movement way before Black Lives Matter, Black Power movement in the 60s. And after the Watts riots, was just really concerned about the African heritage and how it's not showing up in the lives of people that had Black ancestry in this country. The gentleman's name was Professor Karenga. So he started researching the African heritage and kind of similar to Ernest Holmes, culminating a lot of different faiths and philosophies into a concise package. Professor Karenga pulled out 7 principles of African heritage. So I could go on and that, Swahili is spoken in over a third of Africa, and that's what these words are. But let me get to the bottom line of what it represents. It's 7 days, the end of the year. And here are the principles that Kwanzaa celebrates. I'm only going to pronounce the first one because the rest I can't pronounce. One is umoja, but it means unity. To strive for and to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Self-determination, to define and name ourselves as well as to create and speak for ourselves. Collective work and responsibility. That means to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. How rich is that? The one I love the most was cooperative economics. Cooperative economics is a principle that's in the middle of their week of celebration. To build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses to profit from them together. That's a very rich principle. Quickly, to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. To do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful, more beneficial than we did before. That's having a purpose and creativity. And the faith principle is to believe with all our heart in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of whatever struggle we have in life. What a rich way to celebrate coming together. So it doesn't matter what you're grabbing. You can grab Hanukkah, you can grab Christmas, you can grab Kwanzaa. It doesn't matter what your skin color is, what your background is, what religion your mom was born into. But there's a lot out there, particularly right now, showing up very vibrantly and powerfully that we can grab for ourselves to remind ourselves of the infiniteness that is always around us, that the divine is right where we are, then infinite love is possible, then infinite peace is possible, then infinite abundance is possible. And what tools before me or are before me that I can just take right now to remind myself of that and to share that with others. So, Reverend Gail, thanks for bringing this topic of the holy days to light. It's just really powerful.
Oh, you're most welcome. So,
Gail, question?
Yeah, I do. So before I jump into my question, I just want to kind of share a funny with everybody, something that I was contemplating as I was thinking about the gift of the holy days. And I realized that I kind of just assumed, never really thought about that the current celebration of Christmas comes from the Bible. And the truth is, there's nowhere in the Bible that it instructs Christians to celebrate the birth of Jesus of Nazareth. And also, of course, invite our relatives and exchange the perfect gift, right? So nowhere in the Bible does it say roast a ham or cut down an evergreen tree and bring it into your house and decorate it. Christmas was actually outlawed for a few years. And early Christians did not celebrate the birth of Jesus after his death until someone established December 25th as his date of birth. So what happened here is when Christianity became a popular tradition, other existing traditions began to fade. And we've seen this throughout history. And it's possible the early Christian church really was looking to redirect people to move away from the feasts of the winter solstice. And December 25th became the Christmas that we know today. And as more people converted to Christianity, they brought with them all of their favorite customs and midwinter celebrations into Christmas. So think about the Yule log and mistletoe and wreaths of holly, evergreens, candles on trees. Ever wonder where all of these symbols came from? It's actually from the old existing culture of the winter solstice. They've been blended together, celebrating a return of the light. And this leaked into the Christmas tradition, a celebration of the birth of Christ, that which is light. So both holidays look very different, as well as Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and others. Yet fundamentally, they celebrate the same thing, welcoming light into the world. And I thought about that as I was contemplating this topic, because each of us here celebrates differently in the month of December. We have different traditions that we honor. We have different types of celebrations. So with that in mind, I am curious from my cohorts, what divine qualities do you associate with the holiday traditions that you follow?
Oh, there it is. Okay. I just, when I think about that, the traditions and the beauty of it, you know, if you look at all the different, there's so many similarities between every one of the major religions in the world. And a lot of them go back as far as the Vedas or to the Upanishads. And so it just, this is not new stuff, guys. What we're talking about is ancient teachings, and that in some sense, even before, you know, we had evolved to this point, we have always collectively as a people have known that there's something greater and bigger than ourselves. And I love the way that Gail calls Jesus, the man, the great example. You know, to me, it's more powerful that Jesus was not a God, because it just shows you the absolute possibilities that are open to every one of us, that he embodied that truth. And he embodied love, which if you love somebody, you forgive. If you truly love, you forgive. I mean, not, you know, you don't have to go back and keep, you know, getting the same thing from someone that is not very pleasant or whatever it is, but you do if you just forgive. And that was his great teaching to me, to love and to forgive. And all it does is those two things gives you a happy life, a joyful life. You're not harboring anything that doesn't need to be in there. And you're just letting go and just seeing love wherever you look. And to me, that's what this beauty of this season is, that every religion teaches that there's only one source. And they also teach the second, you know, the second commandment, as I call it now, because Jesus said, when, you know, throw out the old commandments, there's only two things you have to do. One is love God above all others. And number two is love thy neighbor as you love yourself. Now you think about it. They didn't have to put in there, do not commit computer crime. Do not do this, you know, not do that. You know, they had all these thou shalt nots. But what they ended up with Jesus's teaching was that if you're treating other people like you want to be treated, it's a totally different world out there. It just means that you're not behaving in a certain way that you would not want to be treated. And so it's really, this is just like Gail said, this is the magical, mystical season. I have to say it again, and I absolutely adore it. So, all right, who wants to go next?
Awesome, Reverend Cheryl.
Thank you, Reverend Bradley.
Perfect. You know, so Reverend Cheryl was talking about when you're out in the world, you know, how do you want to be, and how you can still continue the principle of loving kindness that is prevalent in the traditions this month all the time. You know, in whenever I want to self-observe my behavior, it's very quick and easy to ask myself, is this loving and kind? Because I don't feel, the word loving might be, but I don't feel the word kind can be ambiguous. You could throw the word moral out or just and all sorts of things like that. And those can be completely ambiguous depending on where you live and where your background is. But loving is one thing, and also being kind. You know what being kind is. So how often can we do that? In yesterday's program, Santa, I think he quoted me, his favorite fan, talking about how when I was in a gathering, maybe he was talking about himself, but I did the same thing. So if I did what Santa did, I must be pretty awesome. During a gathering one time, beginning of December, and someone said, what do you like about this time of year? And I said, for many people, not everybody, but for many people, they're as happy and joy-filled as I am the other times of the year. Because for some reason, they choose that this is the only time I can do that. So I'm going to go back to Reverend Cheryl's talk, sharing. When you're out any day, every time, I know we don't go out a lot, but once in a while, we're still going to go out for gas or groceries or some kind of incidentals or a walk. When you go out, can you find 5 people you could just say hello to? Hi, I hope you're having a good day. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, good morning there. Hope you're having a good day. Good morning there. Hope you're having a good day. Good morning there. I hope you're having a good day. Be well. No response needed. You don't care what they say. Just to bring that light of you, which is always present. And when you do that, then it instantly brings into your conscious mind the truth of who you are, that infinite light and love that you always have been, because you've had to do it, right there in that time.
Exactly.
Okay, I will follow our beloved Reverend Bradley. I love that question you posed. Just to get back to Reverend Gail's question, and then I would just want to integrate it with something. So my 3 divine qualities that this holiday season resonate for me are love, oneness, and kindness. And when I was growing up, and probably until I came into Science Mind, the Christmas holiday season, even though I participated through Hanukkah, I still felt very alienated, because Christmas to me is just the dominant holiday of America. And as a Jew, and we didn't celebrate Christmas in the home, I still felt very alone in it and not being part of the celebration, even though I had friends that invited me over. There was still a little separation there. But when I came into Science of Mind and learned what Christmas is all about underneath it, which is, finding that within you is that allness of life. And I'm going to just do a shout out to our beloved Reverend Lori, because she's all about practical application. And, we can talk about what Christmas is and what Hanukkah is, and this is and go in our sphere of intellectual banter. But as Reverend Lori would say, what's the practical application of what you're talking about? And to me, having been in moments of alienation, which I think many people are going to have this year because they're separated from their loved ones, here's that practical application of these wonderful stories. Is even in this time of physical separation, we are always one with our beloveds. The light of spirit is everything that we are. It is right here, right here. And love is something that is the innate energy of who we are. It cannot be taken away from us. It is inexhaustible. It is everything that we are. So the practical application of the story is, when we bump into these feelings of separation and alienation, go to the story and remember the idea of oneness, of light, of love, of the energy of the universe that is within you. Every cell and fiber of your being is that radiance of spirit. You can't lose that. You can't lose that. So I just wanted to share that. And Reverend Gail, back to you.
Okay. Thank you, Reverend Dale. And I just want to thank each person that's here today for really engaging into this topic here on December 23rd and taking it to such a deep level. Reverend Bradley, Dale, and Cheryl, you guys have just done an amazing job with that in giving everybody the gift of the holy days. So we're getting close to the end of our time together. So what I'd like to do is invite each of us to maybe state a closing comment or two before Dale closes us out. And I'll go ahead and start that process. So for me, I think whatever traditions and celebrations that each one of us engage in this holiday season, this is what I know, is that your gifts are ready and waiting, because spiritual gifts are so much more valuable than physical ones. I think it's safe for me to say that they're in fact the best gifts. So whatever gifts you open during Hanukkah, or you hope to open Christmas morning, or you celebrated during the winter solstice, try and imagine a few of the best gifts waiting for you as well. Because these are divine qualities, and these divine qualities are already wrapped and ready to bless you and all of those around you. So anyone else want to add a closing comment?
I'll go next. I would just like to say that Merry Christmas. No matter how it's appearing, as Gail pointed out, no matter how it's appearing, it's going to be a different celebration type of year, but just embrace it and just know that this is, everything is in cycle, just like our earth is, and that this is just a cycle we're going through, and it will open up and things will change. We just stay in that loving and light place. And the gift of beauty, the gift of joy, the gift of peace, love, life, all of those things that we have, just embrace it. Embrace the moment that, just hug this wonderful, beautiful human being that you are, and just love every moment of everything that's going on, and knowing that however it's appearing, that's how it's supposed to be right now, but it doesn't always stay that way. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and love to you all.
Oh, thank you, Reverend Cheryl. I guess my closing comments is, just be okay with wherever you are during this holiday season. Just like Reverend Cheryl just said, embrace whatever that is, and just know how loved you are. I love for people to know how loved you are. These three of us, the four of us here, love you all, and we are always here for you. And if you bump into something, you just need someone to talk to, we are all here for you. Not just us, our whole prayer team is here for you. We've got an online prayer request system. If you just you don't want to really talk to somebody, but you want to just put it out there, send us an email through the website, and our whole prayer team will be praying for you. We hold everybody up in consciousness to that place of just knowing who you are, no matter what you're going through, and we're just holding you there, and we will continue to hold everybody there continuously. So I want to put that out there for all of you, and just to be whatever you want to be this season, and just know that everything is, things move, things change, and everything's always changing. So I just want to leave you guys with that. And so my beloved cohorts, or what are we? We're co-conspirators in spiritual growth and expansion. Does anybody else want to say anything before I go into our closing part of our show? You're all good? They're complete? Okay. Did you notice how color coordinated we are? And we didn't even have to send emails out. We all just knew it was about green and red today. And here we show up as that. So it's great. So we just want to thank you, first of all, for joining us today on this show. We love coming here every week and talking about something different, just to inspire you, to plant some new ideas for you to ponder, so that you can create a better life for yourself. So this thing that we do here that we love to do is just part of the Center for Spiritual Living in Palm Desert. And as Reverend Cheryl had already talked about, giving where you are spiritually fed, this is the time where we like to provide you with an opportunity to give where you are being spiritually fed. And we have many, many places or opportunities for you to give your financial gift to us. As you can see, it's showing up there. I don't even need to say it. It's showing up on the screen there. You can see how you can give. You can also call the office if you're not a PayPaler. I know there's a way to text. You can also send a check, the old method of sending a check to the office. But any way that you feel drawn to give to us, we greatly appreciate your gifts. It allows our center to keep going, even though that we're not open on Sundays. Our office and our ministerial staff and practitioners are all doing their work. We've got a lot of people behind the scenes that are supporting all of you. So we gratefully appreciate your gifts that you can give. We do have some announcements to make this week, and I don't know if my friends here have any that they want to add. I'll start with our schedule for the week. A little bit different this week. Tomorrow, which is Thursday, and Friday, you normally have Dr. Laura tomorrow and Reverend Charles on Friday. We have created a candlelight service. Dr. Joe and I think Reverend Charles and Dr. Laura put together, and Jeff, I have to say Jeff too. They put together a wonderful candlelight service, which is probably the highlight of our year. And we tried to make it happen live, and we couldn't do it this year. So we did create something very special for you. And those of you who know who Levi Christ is, he's somebody he's an amazing, amazing performer. He won a Tony Award, and he's just somebody who sings from that big, vast, divine center of the soul. And he's going to be the musical guest for our candlelight service. And we will be showing it tomorrow, which is Thursday and Friday at 10 a.m. It will be on Facebook, it will be on YouTube, and through our website. So you can pick it up at 10 a.m. both days. And I'm sure after that, it will be housed on our YouTube channels, so you can watch it over and over again. But that's what we will be giving you this Christmas season for you to enjoy. And also the rest of the week is the same. Saturday, we've got a guided meditation by somebody on our ministerial staff. And Sunday, well, you know what Sunday's all about. It's Sunday service and another dose of beautiful inspiration and music for you to enjoy. So that's our week. That's our schedule. Do any of my friends have anything else to share for the schedule? You have anything coming up? Okay. Actually, Cheryl, go, Reverend Cheryl, yes. Oh, you're muted.
I just want to thank everybody that left really kind and loving comments on our website, saying that, you love us and we love you too, but thank you so much. It means a lot to us that we get some feedback every now and then, we're not just talking to the world and there's nobody out there or something, but that's not the case. And so thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you, Reverend Cheryl. Yeah, we love your comments and we love it when you give your love to us. A couple other things just that are regular things I want to remind you about. We've got our Power of 8 group on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. and it's an amazing, amazing experience. And it's open to anybody that wants to drop in. You just have to pre-register for it so we know you're coming and we can get you the information. Just go on our website where that scrolling banner is. And when you see the Power of 8, you can go through there to get registered. And also on Thursdays, I guess, Reverend Cheryl, are you doing your socialite tomorrow night?
No, we've told everyone in the group that shows up regularly that we're not going to be on tomorrow night, Thursday night, which is Christmas Eve. And then it is tomorrow night, isn't it? Oh, anyway. And then we're not going to be on New Year's Eve because, oh boy, yeah, I have a big thing where I work. So it's going to be interesting to do social distancing with a New Year's Eve. So we've figured it out, I think, but but no, we just won't be there for the 2 weeks, but we will be back the following week. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody there. It's a lot of fun. Thank you.
Wonderful. And also I'm going to put a plug in next Tuesday, the 29th of December. I'm going to be having a lot of fun with our intern practitioners. Dr. Laura and I are teaching these beautiful souls to become practitioners, and they'll be completing their coursework and their testing in June of 2021. And you're going to be introduced to these beautiful people. And our topic is how to tap into your spiritual power. So you're going to learn about their individual stories on how they found their spiritual power, and you're going to learn who they are. And we're also going to give you an opportunity to set up appointments to meet with them, because they're at the point in their training where they're ready to start working with people. And they don't charge right now because it's part of their internship. So join me at 10 a.m. I will be with my crew, and I think it'll just be a lot of fun for you to meet all of them. They all have very different personalities, and they bring so many gifts and talents to the plate. So you're going to just enjoy that. So join me then. And so I guess that's it for us. So as we always end everything with prayer, I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So if you want to close your eyes and just relax into this beautiful moment of acknowledging the holiness of these holidays that are of December, these beautiful holidays that remind us of who we are, that we are perfect, whole, and complete, that we are the divine energy of spirit, fully and completely enmeshed in that divine nature. And so I know for everybody here that as we move into the Christmas and the New Year holiday, that we are filled up and overflowing with what we know deep within ourselves, that we are always one with all life, regardless of appearances and circumstances. That oneness is always intact. And so I know for everybody, the ability to know that and to feel that and experience that, so that this holiday season, no matter what each person is doing, that this holiday season may bring peace, love, and joy to all hearts. And so I am just knowing a wonderful rest of the week for everybody, knowing that that light shines brightly within all of us. And when we allow that light to shine, we are bringing forth wonderful energy for our world to expand, to evolve, and to become a much better, much kinder, much more loving place for all of us to live in. And so knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly for everybody this week, and on and on and on, I bless everyone. I bless everything, knowing all is well. And so I just let go, I let it be, as we say together, and so it is.